Welcome to Commas.
Commas is all things tech.
You see culture and technology coming together.
Life hacks.
The practicality right now and the inefficiency of the internet of buying and selling stuff is extraordinary.
Entrepreneurship advice.
I think the first thing is you got to understand your business inside out.
Love and tech.
We've almost reduced dating to kind of this very momentary snap of a person.
It's gonna be a fire show.
I have yet to see something these days that's truly differentiated.
New advice and new inspiration every show.
It really is about the next generation of creators going faster, further than we did.
And now, Sequoia Blodgett.
Now let's start stacking them commas.
On this episode, I'm going to teach you how to gamify your life. We'll talk about human capital and why it's important to invest in yourself. Plus, our special guest, the dating guy, returns.
Entrepreneurship advice. Learn from the hottest and most successful investors, founders, and innovators in the game.
Determine your greatness.
It's time to get your knowledge up.
Okay, for sure.
Okay, so many of you guys are super aware of how to grow and kind of stay productive when you're an entrepreneur and starting your business. But I think that there's something to be said when it comes to gamification. So you guys think about different ways and scenarios that you could be possibly getting to your point faster in terms of actually getting the business off the ground. And a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, we get super discouraged and we're like, okay, what do we need to do? How do we get to the next step? What does that look like, right? And if you think about it when you're a child and you're playing games, it's fun, it's exciting, you want to get to the next level. But as an adult, you kind of pull back on that and you're like, all right, things are super serious, we're super goal focused. Okay, what do we need to do to get from point A to point Z, right? So what about combining the two entities and thinking about gamifying your productivity? So what exactly does that mean? So when you think of gamification, think about like really fun apps that you've played that keep you on consistently when you're hitting milestones. You have goals, you're getting points, you're getting rewards for those points. Aren't those things really addictive qualities that keep you tuned in? So think about like when the Kardashians had their app and people were on there, it went viral. People were trying to play these games. They were buying Kim new clothes. You were putting money in to get rewards out, right? Well, that app generated over $200 million, right? And so the reason behind that was because it was a consistent productivity in terms of the virality of it, right? So every time you got on, you wanted to get to the next level, you wanted to get more points, you wanted to progress within the game. And so what if you thought about your life like that? What if there was opportunity to actually progress in your life in a gamified way? So some of those I think are super transferable skills, and let's really just break down gamification so we understand where we're coming from perspective-wise. So it's turning a task into a game in order to motivate yourself to do something. So the beauty of gamification is that the difficulty of the task, no matter how dreary it can be, can offset once you feel rewarded by doing the task, right? So imagine if you had certain milestones that you had to hit as an entrepreneur, and by hitting those milestones, you were actually getting rewards for that. So say you had to go find your target customer, find your target demographic, and you were getting 200 points here, 500 points there, 1,000 points there, and then you actually got rewards at the end of it all. Wouldn't it be so much more exciting to want to actually do? I absolutely think so. And some other things that you can think about is the process of how gamification actually works. When you think about the inner workings of it, it actually targets really powerful emotions. So we have a chemical inside of us called dopamine. And when we get that dopamine release, it causes us to want to do more. It causes us to be excited and super happy about what we're doing, right? And so that's what gamification triggers. It triggers that actual dopamine release. And by using game mechanics in non-gaming context, gamification makes tasks a lot more fun and engaging. So think of how it feels when you're transporting yourself to another world, being an online game. That's literally the same feeling that you're getting out of all this, right? Let's just break that down a little bit and understand the elements of gamification and what that actually means. So when you're looking at a process of gamification, and you're able to see your experience go from point A to point B. So imagine when you're starting, you see all of the experience bars super low because you haven't accomplished anything yet, right? And as time goes forward, you start to see those experience bars grow. And now you're getting excited and you want to continue to grow. And so it's actually giving you a sense of motivation that you may not have had before. And you can accomplish this with both short-term and long-term goals. So if you have a long-term goal and you're like, okay, I want to set this goal, and then once I hit these metrics, I'm going to get these points. And essentially, from those points, I'm going to be able to then get to the next goal, right? So that's something that you can do with both. And you're getting rewarded for your efforts every single step of the way. So that could be through credits, that could be through points, that could be through cash. I saw a really interesting one that kind of reversed that psychology, where instead of you actually getting rewarded, they were taking that cash away from you, which would incentivize me. I don't know about you guys, but listen, if all of a sudden my bank account started decreasing in funds, then I'm kind of a little bit concerned, and I'm probably going to do the task. Think about it in those different ways. Like, it doesn't always have to be a positive incentive. It could be a negative incentive. It depends on how you function and honestly how and what works best for you. Giving yourself those tasks to complete and actually getting rewarded for it or deducted for it, depending on what your choice is, I think could go either way, right? So let's actually put this into a system. Like, how would you gamify your life, or how would you gamify your business? There's some simple low-tech ways to gamifying your life and working supercharged and being super motivated. And the first step is to actually define your goals, right? So sit down, figure out, maybe give yourself 3 to 4 goals, put them on a piece of paper and say, okay, or even on the notes in your phone, and break those goals down and say, okay, I need to do this, 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 and this, and I want to accomplish them by this date, this date, this date, and this date, right? And then once you break down those goals, which you should make super specific, so I'm talking dates, times, what that goal is, not a general goal like, hey, I want to get $10,000 more a month in my business. Make it very specific. Like, I want $10,000 more a month in my business by doing X, Y, Z. This is how I got to get there, right? And so once you have those goals broken down and they're super clearly defined, then you can start to attach numbers or points to them. So for example, if you said, hey, I want $10,000 more in my business by next month, and I need it by the first of the month and the actual time, and I'm going to do this thing, and this thing to get them. So those things become the actual points, right? So if it's, I need to call 15 people and turn them into leads, right? So then I get 200 points for that. I need to email 500 people and turn them into leads. I get 1,000 points for that, right? So you guys see how this kind of works. And now you can reference this by watching a YouTuber named Superwoman. She does this really, really well. So what you'll see is she'll say, okay, in the beginning of her day, she sets her goals. I'm going to do this, 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 and this, right? You watch the entire vlog. And then at the end of the vlog, she says, I've accomplished this, 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 this. And then she says, give me the points. And you can actually see the points tally up. And then once the points tally up, then she's like, complete. And you get to see like the whole experience happen, right? So that's something really, really cool that you can actually watch in real time if you guys want a reference point. But just to continue on, you track your progress by writing down your daily accomplishments and then compare your progress over time. So you can actually see the growth in your goals, which I think is really interesting. Normally, you wouldn't be able to see that, right? Normally, you would be setting a goal, taking care of it, moving it to the side. But when you're actually tracking your progress and you're seeing your goals and you're getting these points and then you're getting these rewards that are even more incentivized, then it's more likely that you're going to accomplish your goals, which before you probably would have slipped up, or you probably wouldn't have stayed on track because there's nothing really tracking you to do that, right? I love the actual breaking them into larger and smaller tasks because it makes it more relatable and it makes it easier to actually accomplish. In addition to that, not only are you breaking them into larger and smaller tasks, but if you're not an entrepreneur, you can do this with everyday tasks as well. So if it's like, I'm going to get 100 points for organizing my workspace, I'm going to connect with an old associate and that's going to give me 500 points. And I'm going to complete a project at work, which will give me another 2,000 points, right? And then you tally them up and then you give yourself rewards. So if you say, okay, based off of all of those things, the type of rewards that I can see myself having is once I get to 1,000 points, I'm going to get myself a massage. Or if you're a dude, I'm going to go get the new kicks. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. But you decide what those rewards are, and then you can incentivize yourself to do that by following your tracking or your mapping, right? So a really interesting tool that you can use to do this is called Habitica. And essentially it's an app that you download. So you download the app, you create your avatar so it, feels like you, and then you set up your habits. So the first slide you set up, okay, I need to work on this, I need to do this. You do your dailies, which is essentially things that you do every single day. And like I said before, if you're not doing those, you can get deductions. So your points will deduce. Or if you're doing them, then you're going to get your points for the day. You do your to-dos, which is, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. So those aren't necessarily your dailies and things that you do on a reoccurring basis. Those are things that you have to do one time, knock it out, and then you can check it off, and then you're going to get your points for that. And then, of course, your rewards. So then you get to set up exactly what type of rewards you want. And then obviously you have your rewards on the last slide. So once you get to your rewards and you've hit that reward with your points, you can cash them out, which is not necessarily real cash, but you can go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and deduct those points and then give yourself a reward. So it is a trust system for yourself. So you have to be accountable and kind of guide it because it's an app that you're kind of programming. But with that all said, at least you have everything in one universal space and you can see very specifically where your habits are. You can see very specifically where your dailies are, your to-dos, and then your rewards at the same time. And you actually feel like you're accomplishing goals. And it's easier, like I said earlier, to actually see those goals over time being accomplished. So that's definitely something you guys should check out if you're interested in doing something on the gamification level when it comes to goal setting. And that is Habitica, HABITICA.com.
It's life hacks.
Life hacking, baby.
Tech tips and tools for everyday needs.
Tap in.
Control, copy these shortcuts and simplify your life.
You heard us.
So you've heard of social capital, where you have relationships and you know people who know somebody who knows something about it. And essentially those become your capital, right? When you're looking to maybe transfer jobs or you're looking to start a company, you can tap into your resources, and those essentially are people who can help you get from one point to the other. So that's considered social capital. And of course, economic capital, when you do a service or you sell a product, you're getting economic capital, or you work for a company, they're paying you, right? But have you heard of human capital? So let's break human capital down. So human capital is the knowledge and skills that people obtain through education and experience. And that is actually what's referred to as human capital. So people invest in human capital for similar reasons that they invest in business. But I really want to get into details of how exactly you invest in human capital, because I really think that it is so important that you invest in yourselves. And I think this is something that's not talked about a lot. And it's something that you absolutely need in order to grow and get to the next level of your life, right? So let's start by addressing some ways that you can invest in yourself. So first of all, set goals. What does that mean? You're putting those goals down on paper. You are backing yourself into a plan, because a goal is irrelevant without action steps, right? And so that may mean that you have to make some subtle investments like time or even money in order to meet those goals. But that's completely fine, because you have to make sure that you're setting goals. So the interesting thing about human capital is it also lends itself to producing more productivity. So you get more output out of it, right? So if you want to be more productive, you've got to invest in that productivity, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but I actually did this when I moved back to LA. I hired an organizer. Why did I do this? Because I just felt like there was clutter everywhere and my mind couldn't think. And when she came, she hit that spin and everything was exactly where it needed to be. Like, no joke. Like, it was that serious. So when you have somebody who can come and organize your life and your clutter, it just allows your brain to think freely. It allows more free space for yourself. And it allows you to be more productive, which, of course, results in you making more money. So I'm not seeing the issue there. So definitely look into hiring an organizer. If you find that your life has a lot of clutter, if your house has a lot of clutter, if stuff is just around and you don't know what it is, it might be time to look into those services. I got mine off of TaskRabbit and she was amazing. So definitely check that out. Your goal should be to operate with the most efficiency possible. And unfortunately, you really can't do that with a whole bunch of clutter. Another way to invest in yourself is obviously reading educational books, right? But so many of us, like me, can't sit down and just read a book. I mean, there was a time when that actually happened. And at this point in my life, I just don't have the time. So a way that you can do that is obviously through audiobooks. And a great platform for that is Audible. You can go download your book. It's a membership. So you can do your monthly membership, download the book that you want, and then listen to that book. Like, it is one of the best things that I've come across, to be honest, because I've read a book in like 2 hours. That's amazing. The next way I would say investing in yourself is by attending conferences, seminars, workshops. All of these things are going to expand your knowledge and your skills for your business and, of course, your personal life. Some great conferences are Unleash the Power Within from Tony Robbins. I attended that conference and it was powerful. You literally spend 4 days like unpacking your life. And when you're done, you have real tangible goals that you can set forth to achieve. And to me, it was one of the best things that I could have done. Other conferences are Afrotech Ford, which is a entrepreneurship conference. At each of these conferences, they're going to have verticals for specific things that you can tap into, like if you're interested in tech from a developer standpoint, if you're interested in entrepreneurship and building your own business, if you're interested in recruiting and like getting hired at a company, like these are ways that you can push your career forward pretty quickly without having to spend a whole lot of time because it's a lot of content compacted into a couple of days. So it's really worth the investment. I know obviously from experience, some of these conferences can get really expensive, but the workaround to that, what's the life hack? You know your girl's got you. Is to volunteer, like volunteer at a conference. If somebody needs photographers, maybe you volunteer as a photographer and give all the images over to the conference lead. Maybe you volunteer to help, facilitate or orchestrate the conference. There's so many different ways that you can put your skill sets to work during these conferences where you're actually learning and not necessarily having to pay if you can't afford the price points. Because Tony Robbins, UPW, their starting price is like $1,000. So if those are price points that you're just like, that ain't for me right now, like there are workarounds where you can obviously still get the content and get the education and not have to pay the price point. Another way to invest in yourself, and I am a massive advocate for this, is taking care of your health. I mean, if you're not alive, then honestly, none of this matters, right? So that means investing in health insurance. I know essentially some people don't get health insurance through their jobs if you're working part-time or if you're freelancing. If you have a full-time job, maybe it's too expensive. I'm not sure. But there are ways to purchase healthcare insurance outside of a typical 9-to-5. Definitely look into that and allocate resources to that because there is nothing worse than having a health issue that you don't know about. And once you invest in that health insurance, you're going to be able to address all of those things, right? So I think that's massively important. I had a situation where I didn't have health insurance for a really long time. Then I got with a financial advisor. I didn't think I could afford healthcare insurance, to be honest. We combed through my finances and she was like, no, like we're going to allocate these resources where you can save here to healthcare insurance. And after that, I was in the door, right? Like as soon as I got the insurance, I was up at Kaiser, ready to go. Make sure you invest in your healthcare. Honestly, this should have been number one on the list. So going along with that, I think gym memberships are equally important, right? Like get out there, work out. It's mandatory that your body is working out at least 2 to 3 times a week because, again, like all of those health issues are stirred up when you're not working out, right? So make sure that you get a gym membership, get out there, work out. It's really cool because then it's motivation because you're around other people who have similar goals. But worst case scenario, again, going back to the fact that if you can't afford it or if there's just a reason like you don't have the time or whatever that is, you can literally pop up an app and they will give you step-by-step routines. And worst case scenario, which actually has been the best scenario for me, is going on YouTube. Like, pull up some routines, lay out a mat in your living room and get it done, right? Like, I literally do this every morning. My routine consists of waking up, pulling out my exercise mat, popping my laptop open, Googling or YouTubing a video, and literally working out. And it's really cool because you feel like you've actually accomplished something for the day. You've got your daily workout in, you're super energized, and you're ready to go. So there are no excuses here. You absolutely can work out, and you need to be doing that. Investing in a coach. Now, this is a new kind of new age concept for people, which I don't understand why this wasn't a concept to begin with, because having a coach is crucial. You have a coach for the gym. You have a coach if you're trying to play a major sport. You have a coach, for all these other things in life. So why would you not have a coach for your business? Why would you not have a life coach? Why wouldn't you have a relationship coach? These type of people are super important because you only know what you know, right? What you don't know, you're just assuming, and you're wasting a lot of time and money potentially. So invest in a coach. Invest in somebody who's already been where you're trying to go, because essentially they're going to help you get there a whole lot faster. And of course, speaking of coaches, you guys obviously know that we're a business. So log on to commonsenseseries.com, of course, shameless plug, and look at our program because we definitely help assist with business on that end. So further diving into this, I think mental health is so crucial. And again, it goes back to my theory of you invest in all these other people who are external, but you need to be addressing what's going on internally. Everything starts from the inside and comes outward, right? So whatever issues you're struggling with emotionally and you need to alleviate, that involves a therapist. I don't understand this whole self-medication thing and trying to nurse yourself back to health and like, I'm going to think it through. And hopefully if I think it through long enough, I'll come up with the answers. You have got to invest in a therapist. I mean, I know they can be expensive, but there's workarounds for that. Look at Talkspace, look at BetterHelp. I know BetterHelp does financial aid that will bring the price point down if you can't commit to the price that they offer. So you got to look into things like this. It's so easy for us to assume that we don't have access to these things and these resources and these tools, but we do. If we do the research, we can get exactly what we need in order to propel forward. Other reasons to invest in therapy is it's going to increase your confidence, your self-esteem, your communication skills, which I'm still very thrown by the fact that none of this was taught in school. Like, what was school really for? But that's another conversation for another day, and I will get to the life hacks on education next. But I just really think that by having a therapist, you're going to address things that you did not know you had. Mental blocks, like when you keep running up against something, it's a mental block, and the therapist is going to be able to assess that and give you tools and resources to get around that. So stop assessing yourselves with the self-medication. I know this is a big thing. I don't know about other communities, but in the Black community, everybody wants to self-soothe and self-solve and self-medicate and like all these things. And guess what? Then you end up with this ongoing cycle of issues that you never solve. So continuing the conversation about education, I'm not sure. I mean, this is my perspective. I went to school. I went to a 4-year university. I just don't know that the 4-year university is still what it needs to be for certain categories of career, right? Doctors, yes. Lawyers, of course. All these people who absolutely need a certain tenure of education, yes. But for people like entrepreneurs or, I don't know. I think there's ways to get this education without having to sit in a classroom for 4 years. Like myself, I went through Draper University, 7 weeks of education, people. 7 weeks, right? And I was able to learn from the best of the best. I was learning from the CEO of Uber, of Airbnb, of all these massive companies who were out there doing it. I think there's nothing better than learning from somebody who's actually doing the work. I think school, depending on where you go and how the system is set up, you're learning from a bunch of people who have never even, in some cases, done what they're teaching you. And I think that's a little problematic. So that's just my perspective on that. I really think education is super important. I also think you can be learning that in other ways that's more digestible to today's society. So another thing, I addressed this a little bit earlier, but okay, guys. Okay. So the issue in specifically the Black community, I mean, I'm sure it's an issue in other communities too, but this is the frame of reference and the lens that I'm looking through because that's the community that I'm a part of. There is a massive lack of education when it comes to finances, and I mean massive. And I am not exempt from this at all, or at least I wasn't, right? But I got to a point where I could not figure out where in the entire my money was going. Like, I could not figure it out. Like, I'm getting paid every 2 weeks. I make a decent salary. Where is my money though? Right? And so I had to go and hire a financial advisor because I couldn't understand. So I went through Financial Gym, which has literally been one of the best investments that I have ever made. And they went and they looked through every single expenditure that I had. We audited my expenses, we put them in budgets, and then we allocated resources to an emergency fund. We opened up a high yield savings account. We restructured so that my credit score would move up. And I was so shocked because that's education that you just do not know. And if you do not know that, that will keep you poor. Right? And so for me, I just think being a person who is making money and not being able to account for it is a huge problem. Right? And so I would say probably from this list, the biggest investment that has gotten me the most return on my investment, or I've actually seen very strong results around, is a financial advisor. Like, that was the move. So there you have it, guys. Those are things that you should be investing in within yourselves that we equate to human capital. These things will get you to the next level in your lives. You will be leveling up before you know it. Make the investment. It's that serious.
Yo.
Love, life, and tech.
With Sequoia Blodgett.
Just part of our culture.
Because balance is real between the swipe culture, mental health, personal growth, career, and just about everything in between.
Just keeping it real.
It's a lifestyle.
Incredible vibes, incredible people.
Love,
Life.
and tech.
Ladies and gentlemen, so you guys know the voice and you know the situation. So we've got our reoccurring guest, our app dater, who we're now going to call dating guy because I think that's fitting. Yeah.
I agree.
All
I'll
right.
go with that.
Okay. So tell me, because I know you were on League previously.
Yeah.
Then you got off League and then you started using Tinder.
Yeah.
And you had met somebody on Tinder who you were really excited about.
Yeah.
You guys went on a couple dates.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what happened?
Well, I have determined that I might not be ready to date. I don't know.
Okay.
And I say this because I went into Tinder, the second, app from your suggestions, with the goal to possibly start actively dating.
Okay. From my suggestions, you say.
Yes, I took your advice and I went to Tinder first.
Did I say
although
go to Tinder?
You may not have expressly said you should go on Tinder.
Okay, because I have my feelings about
yes,
Tinder. But
I just don't know if you denounced Tinder.
I did. Okay.
But I just heard Tinder, and that's the last thing I remember, and I went on Tinder.
Okay.
And my experiences on Tinder were very strange. Lot of swipage, and it is addictive. Oh my God, you get addicted to swiping left or right or whatever. For the most part, I found most profiles that I came across, I thought they were fake. And so sometimes I would just swipe right just to see.
Okay, so what I do know is that Tinder was curated to basically duplicate the feeling that you get inside of a casino when you're pulling the slot machine. So they wanted to create the same addictive principles.
Okay.
And so that is why you're feeling that addiction, that dopamine release when you're swiping, because it's the same thing as if you were in Vegas, like at a casino, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And see, that's probably why I grew so tired of it, because I don't like Vegas and or casinos, playing games or anything like that. I don't slot machines, blackjack. I go to Vegas and I'm a tourist. I like to take pictures of the casinos. I like to watch the water, spectacular in front of Bellagio or whatever. I want to go and see a show. I go to the New York and get on the roller coaster. I do that stuff. I don't smoke, so I don't even like going inside of casinos. So for me, after about maybe a week or two, Tinder had already grown tiresome. Like, okay, so I get it. I keep swiping. I'm not connecting with anyone. And then as I was ready to give up, bing, someone hit me. And I was like, hey. And her vibe was so like right in my space. Okay. She was a nerd. She was really, into books, very deep, had a style kind of all onto her own. She wasn't putting on any fronts. I looked at this profile like, this is who she is. And I said, hey, feeling you too. Boop. And then all of a sudden it was Connect City. And we're going back and forth with the messaging, just having good conversations, kind of getting to know each other, right? And I think for me, I was all in until I had said something to the effect of, when I just kind of was like, well, I like to go out, let's meet up and stuff like that. And I think I prefaced it with like, I don't drink or smoke. So, club and meeting up for drinks, that's not my thing. And she said, ... Oh, I do drink and smoke. And for me, that was like, breaks like a mug. Because I really don't drink. And I'm someone, I can't really be around people who do drink. And it is because it took me a long time to get off of drinking. You know what I'm saying? I've been on the wagon now for going on 15 years. Okay. And before that, I was a hardcore drinker. And I don't even want to sip something. Just, taste this. No, because I like drinking. And I know how bad it is for me. So I can't be around people that drink. That's strike one. Strike two is smoke. I'm not 420 friendly. I'm not nicotine friendly. I'm not vape pen friendly, Echo, whatever those things are. I'm none of that friendly. I don't want to be around it. I despise it. I think about kissing someone who smokes kind of like maybe, would I like to like lick an ashtray? No, I would not. So that's how I look at someone's mouth when I think of them as a smoker. I look at your mouth, your lips are like the rims of an ashtray. Wow. Okay. And your teeth, that's all the cigarette and beady and roach buds in the damn ashtray. Very bad visual for me. So that was strike two. Okay. But still, I said, but her vibe is so cool. So I said, you know what? Let's hook up. Let's meet up. Let's get a bite to eat. And we sat down, and we sat up in that restaurant to the point where the waitress kind of gave us like that, it's time for y'all to go cue,
Were you guys the last ones in the restaurant?
No, but in that section.
Okay.
In that section, I looked around, and they're all, and like the cashier standing over there looking at us, watching, looking at us. I'm like, yeah, maybe we should go. And it was cool.
So you guys had a vibe.
We had a vibe, and the vibe was real friendly. Okay. Then we went to a movie, and there was kind of a mention of secrets. I don't really like secret. She had a secret at the time, and that just kind of like,
because that would have thrown me all the way off. So how did that present itself?
It presented itself in, hey, so how do you feel about secrets?
I don't.
And I said, I don't like them. I don't like surprises on my birthday. Go on and let me know what I'm getting. It's all good. I don't like surprise parties. Just deliver it. Just, hey, here you go. Boom. And so for probably up until the movie started, I'm like, so what is it? I mean, are you really a man? You got to do it in prison. You got AIDS, herpes, gonorrhea, syphilis. I've been like, are you a murderer? Are you on the run? All because this is what I go to first. When you tell me you got a secret or something you can't tell me, I instantly go to the negative. I can't go. There's no positive secrets.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So I just went there and it was never really answered. And then when I found out what the secret was, it kind of made me say, huh.
What was the secret?
Well, the secret was that the movie we went to go see, she had already seen it. And, long story short, it made me feel kind of like, well, I could have gone and seen this with somebody else.
But like, why are we being super dramatic about it?
Yeah,
Like,
to me,
let's
I mean,
just have a
that was weird.
right.
That threw me off. But, and that kind of put me in a space of like almost a strike 3 as far as a relationship.
Okay.
As far as this being, my boo thing, is this being like, yo, me and you, I'm finna put a ring on it eventually. No, but she is such a cool person. I said, well, hey, if anything, I have met a new friend.
Right.
Because, man, she's solid. She lives like all the way in, bumfuck California, which is like way too far for me to be driving on the regular anyway. But again, solid vibe. I'd meet halfway to, I don't know, hang out and do something. But for me, as far as a relationship goes, I say no. And I canceled my Tinder account right after meeting her because I was like, well, my whole goal was to meet someone.
Oh, so you thought you were
on Tinder.
good.
I thought I was good. I thought I was really, really good. Because, yeah, I thought that this may be the one.
Okay.
But even if it wasn't the one, my whole goal for going on Tinder was to meet somebody to hang out with and kind of, take away the, I don't want to say boredom, but just someone that I could go out with, hang out with that was, of the opposite sex. I got lots of homies I can hang out with. But I'm like, nah, like, I want to, go on a date movie. I'm not going to go see the latest date movie with my homie.
Right.
I need to go and see it with, with like, a sister queen. I need to
I
be
love
like,
the fact that you canceled your account after you met somebody. That says a lot because a lot of people want to continue to swipe because of the addicted personality traits that you get from, or because of the addicted personality. What am I talking about? Because of the addiction feeling that you get from being on the app. So I love that you said, okay, I found somebody that's interesting to me and I'm going to close it down. It says a lot about your character.
You know what's really whack about that, though? Is that Tinder charged me again just today.
Wait, why?
Because I guess when you go on the Tinder app and you choose to delete your account, I did that. I went on the Tinder app, deleted my account. They said, cool, account closed. Boom. Guess what you have to do? You have to then go on Android, or if you got it on Apple, you have to go on to their Play system and cancel the subscription.
Yes.
Did not know that. I was so pissed off today because they're like, thank you for your secondary payment. I'm like, no. No. And I sent them my little screenshot of canceled, account canceled. And they're like, oh, no. Yeah, no. And we're not refunding that. You need to go to the Apple or to whatever page you got it on and then cancel it. And so I did all that and I got my official thing. But now I'm like, dude, I got the damn app for another month now. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to Tinder because for me, overall, aside from meeting this one young lady that out of like 2.5 weeks, it's such a trap to me. You know what I mean? It's such a trap. And I think a lot of the women that I would come across, even people who would come to my page and give me like a like or whatever, I'm like, this account is so obviously fake. Like, what is it that I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to take this half a porn star seriously?
Okay,
like,
so another
man.
sidebar that I know about Tinder, or that I've heard about Tinder, is a lot of the accounts that you feel are fake. So basically, it's the digital platform for trafficking. So, yeah. So a lot of prostitution or sex trafficking is getting solicited through Tinder. So those accounts that look fake aren't necessarily fake. They're just not people that you would want to date on a serious note or even date casually. They're actually looking for a meal ticket. So.
Oh, and see, I'm not thirsty. I'm not thirsty at all.
You're
so
like, I'm not paying for
I'm not,
that.
No, hell no. You can keep these rat trap looking asses like to yourself, man. I can't get down. But I thought about maybe trying a different app, but I was like thinking to myself, is there an app that is actually designed and has an algorithm, wherein I can actually meet people that are within the same, I don't know, space that I am right now. You know, because it's tough because like the league to me was LinkedIn for dating.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of
Yep.
connected different business profiles or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm not looking to like start a partnership with somebody. Even though a relationship is a partnership, just not in that way. Tinder seemed to be like, yo, if you're looking for, you know,
The
a
devil's
quick, you know,
playground.
a quick, you know, quickie,
Yeah.
then here you go. And I'm not necessarily looking for the quick quickie. I've had more than enough quickies in my life that I recognize the value of what goes into a relationship, what goes into building a relationship. And I know that lots of times sex throws everything out of the window. So, and then you have those sites like Match.com. Long ago, Match.com was one of the first ones I was on. And every single woman that I kind of met on there was like, oh, so you're not looking to put a ring on this next week? What is your problem? Everyone on here is looking to put a ring on it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought we were just trying
I
to
don't know
make a
you.
match. Like, I didn't know this was like getmarriednextweek.com. So that's why I was like, cancel the match. You know what I mean? I've tried Zoosk, and Zoosk is just silly. You know, I tried Plenty of Fish. There truly are plenty of fish. I have tried, what's another one I tried? Black People Meet, I think it is, or Meet Black People, whichever one that one
Black
is.
People Meet,
That
yeah.
one is like every single person you meet lives in another state.
Right.
So that one is whack. Where do you go? Or do I just have to go back to old school, like in the supermarket, at the church? You know, I don't go to clubs.
Okay,
Maybe in the
okay.
park.
I can chime in.
Okay,
Call
bam.
on me. Okay, so I know that obviously, you know, I've been on quite a few dating apps. And when we did an interview, I think it was in the beginning of Commas, we had Kevin Carr on, and he was talking about like everybody may not be like fit to be on a dating app. Like some people are better fit to meet people out in person. Some people are better fit to meet people through social media. Maybe the dating app structure isn't exactly where you need to be. So I kind of had to take heed to that because I was on dating apps for a really long time and a lot of them. And I was like, I am not like the ratio numbers were just not working. I'm like, I'm swiping and matching and talking and it's just like not comprehending into anything. And so just being out and like meeting people, like being at events or going to certain things, like has for me been way more beneficial, or even through social media, like Instagram, Facebook, whatever, like those things have actually been way more beneficial than the actual dating app. Because I think when you're out and you're just meeting people casually, or if you're like on social, you can make it casual. And then eventually, you know, I mean, I'm the type of person, I'm going to tell you what I want up front, depending on if I feel like there's an interest. But I think that you have a little bit more control over the type of relationship that you're connecting to. Or I don't know. I don't know what the difference is in terms of why it's been working better for me. And I'm the type of person, I realized even this past weekend, just going out, like I'm the meet people out person. Right? I'm the person that needs to get out the house because I'm a people person. Like I am the best of both worlds in terms of introversion and extroversion. I can be introverted. I can be extroverted. I can sit in my house all day and do nothing. I can be out and talking to people and connecting. And I'm happy both ways. Right?
Okay.
And so I feel like find those events or those things that you're super excited about and casually meet people there. And maybe you'll have a better opportunity connecting with somebody that you're actually interested in versus like intentionally connecting with somebody on a dating app. I don't know. That's just my theory. Like I've been on all of them. I have not had I've dated one person pretty seriously off of a dating app, but like out of a lot of people, I'm like hundreds of people. So like that ROI seems very much like not a great return on investment as far as I'm concerned, but maybe try going out and seeing what that's like.
And see, it's interesting because I actually know someone that met their husband on a dating app.
Yeah, me too. But that's what I'm saying. Some people are not fit for dating apps. Like
Gotcha.
I don't think I'm a dating app person. Like I'm just not. I just don't think that that's the case for me. And maybe that's not the case for you either.
Right.
Like
right.
just being out. Like my homeboys had an event out here recently. So me and my girls went to this event, and just being out, I'm like, I meet a lot of people just being out. You know what I mean? So maybe it's just going to a function that maybe there's like a conference that's around the category that are the specifications that you like. Maybe there's like a Comic-Con or like something like for blurs, like black nerds that you can go to. Just different.
Dang, you know what? There was an event called EagleCon. It is in, I think, Glendale, California. That's kind of like a blurred, gathering of comic heads. That's actually a really, really, really dope idea, is going to those places where people that I have a common interest with, where we're all gathered. Wow.
Yeah.
I have literally never, as that's so obvious, never thought about action. Because a lot of times when people say, you should go out and, meet people, I'm like,
where am I going?
Out to the where?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, I'm at that age now where a lot of my friends, we don't go out. It's like after work, it's kids, it's home. Going out is a luxury. And then going out is like, to where? To the club. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't dance. Mm-hmm. So it's like, nope, not going to a club. So it's like, when people say go out, I'm always like, are you talking about like just be out, like at a park, at church, at the grocery store? But I do go to comic book conventions. And I've never looked at that as a place to meet a nerdette or a geek girl.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Little insight. I mean, I think it's perfect, to be honest, because that there's a commonality already going into it. And so I think that, if it's not online, if it's not in a digital space, like, let's not be afraid to step back into the real world and connect in real life. I think it's something that we've lost. It's a lost art, and it's something that we definitely need to readdress. So I appreciate that follow-up, and I definitely want to know if you end up going out to something or if you end up meeting somebody like on social media, maybe it's Instagram or Facebook. We will continue to track the story and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for dropping by.
Anytime.
I launched my first company, 7 a.m. in 2014 after a long stint of working in the entertainment industry as a commercial and music video director. It was hard. Even though I was venture backed by one of the biggest VCs in the game, I still was so confused as to how to actually run, grow, and scale the company. I didn't understand how to convert customers quickly and efficiently. I didn't understand which marketing tools to use and how to create sales funnels. I didn't understand staying niche in the beginning and not boiling the ocean. I didn't understand how to stay motivated during extreme times of loneliness and not getting the results I was expecting. After several years, we ended up closing the doors. I started studying hundreds of really successful entrepreneurs to find out how they not only kept the lights on, but were scaling rapidly. After officially walking away from my first company in 2016, several years later, I launched Commas, a virtual entrepreneurship resource center. Yes, we're actually a company. I built it to help you guys understand why raising capital too fast will actually hurt you, why you need a team around you to iterate quickly and stay sane, why your business has to stand out because so many people are doing the exact same thing. There are no new ideas, and why it's important not to push your personal life to the back burner. Consider Commas as your entrepreneurship resource guide so you can avoid making the same mistakes that I did. We cover all things from product to marketing to publicity and fundraising. You can learn more about Commas, the actual platform, by visiting commastheseries.com. You can also hit us up on our socials at Commas the Series. Until next week, it's your girl Sequoia, and I'm out.